It is 8:30, 30 minutes after 8 o'clock. Time for Zach and Jim's Fort Hood Update. And we've got some famous friends on the line.
We do, from the 3 Corps, the 3rd Armored Corps, the Commander, Lieutenant General Pat White, and Command Sergeant Major Cliff Burgoyne on the line. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, teammates.
How we doing?
Fantastic. Now, how in the world did we get both of you this morning?
Well, our tea time isn't until about 9 o'clock.
Because, usually it's like the president and vice president are never together in the same room,
Well, I'm not a vice president, not even close.
And I'm not a president, so you're good to go.
All right, good. Well, there's a lot of things going on, great things at the great place. We'll get to that in a moment. But, the first thing is the big news. Everybody knows about what's going on in the Ukraine with Russia, and everybody hears stories about sending troops over to Europe. Can you kind of give us an idea what that means for Fort Hood?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, our mission is to fight and win our nation's wars, so we are always training to be ready to do that. Sometimes the world turns in a direction that none of us want, and the readiness has to be increased and shortened on a timeline. And so there are units out there in our Army today that have been told, hey, if this thing goes down, you got to be ready to roll. You can make the assumption, because of who we are, that if something happens in Europe, there'll be units from Fort Hood, Fort Carson, Fort Bliss, Fort Riley, Fort Sill. They'll end up getting involved.
And it's not just us. Our NATO partners are also involved. So this is not a United States thing. This is a NATO op.
Yeah, so we're glad that you're ready, and we appreciate all the great training you do for us and everything. But let's talk about the Great Place. Talk about news. What's going on at the Great Place?
Well, we had our 2 days of winter last week for Texas, and if you look back last year, we had pretty much 2 weeks of really harsh weather conditions, and we weren't prepared for it. But I will tell you that this year, when it came, a little bit of ice, a little bit of snow, we were prepared, and our garrison command did a phenomenal job getting us ready.
Now, talk about the 3rd Armored Corps' mission.
Well, our mission, we've got 35% of the nation's combat power inside of the 3rd Armored Corps. And, our soldiers every day are out there training to ready to when we do get the call, as we stated earlier, that we are ready. But
and I think, what the Sergeant Major and I always think about, right, is where are our soldiers in the world today? And, we're in support of 4 geographic combatant commands. What does that mean? That means somebody who owns a whole bunch of land mass for the United States Department of Defense and requires forces to help deter our adversaries. And so right now, as you are speaking to us this morning, we're on 4 different continents doing that mission.
We talk about the Great Place, a lot of things happening as far as modernization. Tell us about that.
So, we have the most modern division in the Army right now, which is the 1st Cavalry Division, and we're training with that equipment in our backyard every day. And so we've got to get ahead of our adversaries and stay ahead of them based on the equipment. And I think industry in the United States is doing a really good job of helping us get there.
Yeah, and we'll take those units over the next few months out to the National Training Center and put them at pace to see how they're going to do. And we'll learn from that, and we'll come back here and we'll train even harder.
Well, we appreciate that hard training. And gentlemen, any last words as we wrap this up?
Well, we've got our best squad competition. We've done a best NCO and best soldier competition in the Army for quite a while now. And we turned it into a best squad competition. And not only are we going to host that best squad competition here on Fort Hood, we're also going to host the Forces Command competition here. So we'll do ours in June and then the Forces Command competition in August. And winning matters. So we're training our soldiers. And the other thing for me is that we've got our AUSA golf tournament coming up in March. That raises really $55,000 to $60,000 in educational scholarships for our families and spouses. So it's an important event. So if any of your listeners are interested, please sign up.
And a quick note. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I just want to thank the families and our soldiers and civilians and all the communities out there that enable us to do what we've been talking about this morning. It's fantastic support. We love our communities. We're a part of it. And so, again, thanks from myself and Command Sergeant Major Burgoyne.
And Belton Rodeo coming up, the first Cav Division horse detachment is going to be there.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, and before we sign off, look, I just want to welcome two new civilian assistants to the Secretary of the Army, Ken Cox and Edgar Fuentes. They just got notified this week that they'll be the Fort Hood CASAs for the next few years.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
That's great. They're going to be coming in from other parts of the country?
Well, Ken's here, right? Like he retired here,
Right.
With his family, and Edgar Fuentes is a retired sergeant major who served, almost 2 decades here at Fort Hood.
Okay, great. That is wonderful.
Well, thank you guys for what you do. Keep up the good work, and thanks for giving us the update today.
You betcha. The Zach and Jim update.
Zach and Jim update. Got to get to the golf course.
All right, see you.
Hey, just make sure you grip it good and keep your head down.
Grip it and rip it. Yeah, there you go. 3rd Armored Corps Commanders, Lieutenant General Pat White and Command Sergeant Major Cliff Burgoyne with this week's
Fort Hood Update.